So you want to never be awkward again, huh? You awkward bastard, you. Hey man, I can be awkward sometimes. But I think the number one key to really not being awkward is to just be honest with your feelings. That's really where awkwardness comes from. It's like you're in a situation, you feel one way, but you have to show another way. So it's awkward. You're at a parent's house, you're nervous as fuck, you feel like you're gonna mess up, but you gotta be normal. Hi, yeah, I know I met your daughter on Tinder. She's my wife now. It's like, it's awkward, but it's doable. And anytime you feel awkward, just try to I think the two things it really comes down to is one, being honest with how you feel and accepting that and not budging because other people are there. And two, being congruent to how you feel. Like, however you feel, just let your actions and let your voice. For example, I walk into work, and if you walk into work and you're tired that day and it's early in the morning, you see someone, you don't have to be like, hey, good morning. You don't have to like fake high energy. You could just be like, hey, good morning. It's nice to see you. Yes, I barely slept last night, or whatever. Whatever the energy is, you could just ride with that energy. Because I've met girls in situations where I was essentially super chill, like I am right now, or I've met girls where I was like up and about, so I use that shit for my advantage. You can use any emotion to your advantage. Don't feel like, man, I'm in a down mood, so I can't go up to girls right now, or I'm in a down mood, so I can't communicate with girls right now. You can communicate with girls low key. You can communicate with girls high energy. It doesn't really matter. And what will make it not awkward is accepting that that's how you feel at that moment. If that's how you feel, like for example, I meet a girl's parents. I'm nervous. Why don't I be honest with everyone around me? I could say, I'm sorry if I come off a little nervous. I'm meeting you guys for the first time, so I just want to make a good impression. But yeah, I'm a little nervous right now. Let them know. Matter of fact, a lot of times when you're honest about how you feel, it actually makes them think the opposite. Where they're like, if I go up to a girl and I'm like, I thought you were really cute, or I thought you had like a really cool energy, and I was just standing there, I had to say hi, otherwise I'd be kicking myself. I'm kind of nervous though. Just me saying that is like, that's almost like what a not nervous person would even do, because a really nervous person, what would they try to do? They'd really try to act like they weren't nervous, which would make them more nervous. It's an ironic kind of catch-22, isn't it? And that's really with everything. When you can kind of be congruent to how you feel and you can kind of accept how you feel, that's really how you'll never be awkward again. Because even in the moment where you're awkward, you're like, you could just be like, sorry, I haven't left the house in 2 weeks. I'm kind of awkward and autistic right now. Don't worry, I'll get my social skills together. Like, you say that to someone in real life, they're probably gonna laugh. They're probably gonna be like, wow, well, he's not that awkward because he can actually stand back and analytically break it down in a humorous way. And she doesn't have to not be honest with how he is. It's when people are not being congruent with their feelings, that's what makes things awkward. Someone's trying to act one way, but they really feel another way. So you feel that uncomfortableness because there's a discomfort with pretending. So, like, I could have been up here and, like, I'm going to show you that's what I was doing early in the channel and it felt awkward at times because it's like, okay, I'm not used to this. By just being yourself, by being congruent and accepting it, you know what I mean? If someone bumps into you and you're a little uncomfortable and they're like, oh, are you uncomfortable right now? Like, whatever the position, you can be like, yeah, a little bit. If you could move, that'd be great. I don't mean it, like, whatever. Like, whatever the case is, you let the situation be what it is. And if you slip up, it's not a big deal. Because at the end of the day, it's just going to happen. It's just going to happen. But what you always just want to remember is however you feel, it's okay to feel that way. If you feel like someone's intruding on your space, it's okay to let it be known. If, you always got to be ready in every situation. But it's okay to be in the state that you are and say things in the state that you are and not have to change it, because that's when things become awkward. Is you got that. Sometimes I'll play games online and I'll get into arguments, and And a lot of the dudes are awkward because they'll try to come off super intellectual, and and it's not really natural for them. So, but they want to know, they want to let you know that they're really smart, or whatever the case is, or just certain situations. You can have a guy trying to force that he gets a lot of women, and it's like everyone knows he doesn't. If he would just be chill, it would just be a lot better. People would still accept him. People would still like him. And he'd probably actually get a chick, because the moment he meets them, they're not going to be like, oh, look at this try-hard guy trying to pretend what he doesn't feel is what he's not really feeling right now. And that, because think about it, how many of us are fake? Hey, how's your day going? Good. Like when you're able to meet someone, and you just meet them, and you're like, man, I just rolled out of bed doing so, and like every time they ask you, you actually have a congruent answer to how you're feeling. People would be like, wow, that person's really authentic. Wow, that person is who they are. And you'll be able to get a lot more respect from people, because people will see something that they wish that they could be in you. And that right there is how to never be awkward again, bro. I don't want to ever get nervous. And part of being nervous is that you're not saying you're nervous. So just acknowledge that you are nervous, and you'll be less nervous. If I walk into a room full of girls and I'm like, man, I haven't left the house in a while, I've been on lockdown, I'm a little nervous, like there's a lot of pretty girls in here, that will alleviate your nerves in itself right there. So with that being said, see you in the next episode.